Hello everyone, a very good morning to all. So with this video, we are starting with our second unit, that is chemical bonding 3, where we'll be discussing about energetics of ionic solids and about the weak interactions which are present between the different compounds. So we are starting with the ionic solids, the energetics of ionic solids. But before that, let's review our earlier unit which we discussed, where we discussed everything about ionic solids. So ionic solids are made up of ions, and these ions are held together by electrostatic forces of interactions. There are electrostatic forces of attraction between the oppositely charged ions. That is why they are held together in the form of solids. So we have already discussed about the properties in detail, but nothing has been discussed about stability of these ionic solids so far. The stability of ionic solids is determined from lattice energy. Now, what lattice energy is, before going to the details of lattice energy, with more the lattice energy, more is going to be the stability. We need to understand that if lattice energy is more, that means more stable is the ionic solid. So in this particular unit, we'll be discussing about the energetics of ionic solids, or the various forces which operate for the ionic bond to be formed. So let's get started. Uh, First of all, we need to know what lattice energy is. So it is a measure of force of attraction between the ions in solid state. So it is a measure of force of attraction between the oppositely charged ions in solid state. Lattice energy measures the stability of the ionic solids. The exact definition is amount of energy released when 1 mole of an ionic crystal is formed from the gaseous ion. So these are the gaseous ions. When these combine to give an ionic compound in the form of a solid, the energy released in this particular reaction is called as lattice energy. More the lattice energy, more is going to be the strength of ionic bond, and more is the stability of the ionic compound. Here are few compounds and the corresponding lattice energies have been written. So lattice energy for NaCl is minus 782 kilojoule per mole. For KCl it is minus 701. If you have if you have if you look carefully at this data, we can see that with increase in charge, say because sodium and chloride here in NaCl are having +1 and -1 respectively charges. So the energies are the corresponding lattice energy is minus 782. But for the case of magnesium and chloride, where size of magnesium is smaller in comparison to that of sodium, and charge on magnesium is higher in comparison to that of sodium. So lattice energy is more in comparison to that of NaCl. Further, lattice energy for out of all the data, lattice energy is highest for magnesium sulfide, where both the ions are divalent. Magnesium is 2 positive, sulfide is 2 negative. So this is maximum because the size is smallest and the charge is highest. So from here we can say that also these values are negative. We have written the negative sign with these values. The negative sign indicates that these are the energies released when the bond is formed, ionic bond is formed. So the bond formation is an exothermic reaction. So more the energy released, more is going to be the strength of ionic bond, and more is going to be the stability. So from this data, we can say that more the value of this lattice energy, more the energy released, more is going to be the charge to size ratio. We can say more the charge to size ratio is there, more is the charge to size ratio of cations and anions, more is going to be the lattice energy, that is more is going to be the stability, more is going to be the strength of ionic bond. So the lattice energy is directly proportional to charge and inversely proportional to size of the ion. So now let us see how do we calculate lattice energy for ionic compounds. So for the formation of bond, in case of ionic compounds, in case of ions, the ionic compound is formed by the electrostatic interactions between the oppositely charged ions. So when the oppositely charged ions come together, come near to each other, two types of forces are there which come into play. Attractive forces. First one is the attractive forces within the oppositely charged ions. Here, this is the first one, that is the attractive forces between the oppositely charged, and second one is a repulsion due to interpenetration of electron cloud. That is the repulsion between electron cloud of both the ions. So potential energy corresponding to attraction is given by Z1, which is the charge on the cation, Z1 positive into electronic charge, negative of Z2, that means charge on the anion with the negative sign. This is the charge on the anion into electronic charge divided by distance between the ions, interionic distance, internuclear distance between the ions. So this is the potential energy of attraction, and here is the potential energy of repulsion, which comes into play between the electron clouds of due to the interpenetration of electron clouds of both the ions. So this is given by B multiplied by E square divided by R raised to power n. Here B is the repulsion coefficient, E is the electronic charge, and n is the Born exponent. This is a constant which is called as Born exponent, n is constant which is called as Born exponent, R is same, that is internuclear distance between the oppositely charged ions. Where n is Born exponent, this whole potential energy terms are given by Born, who was a scientist. So that is why this constant is named after his name, that is Born exponent. So the value of n increases with increase in electron density. So dependence of n is there on the electron density. Now net potential energy would be given by the addition of these two terms, that is potential energy of attraction and potential energy of repulsion. Now the potential energy of attraction is having a negative sign in its value. So net potential energy would be given by BE square by R raised to power n minus Z1 Z2 E square by R. So this equation of the where we get the potential energy value is called as Born equation. Here we can plot this equation graphically. From here we can get to know the potential energy changes with distance for the oppositely charged ions. So this is the curve for repulsion. This one, the green one, this is the blue one is the curve for repulsion. This green one is the curve for attraction. So as the attraction term is having negative sign, so that means this value is always negative. So it has been shown on the negative side of the y-axis. Here on the x-axis, r is increasing, that is distance. So if we see that there is, and with increase in r, say here to this side r is increasing, this value is decreasing in negative side. That means it will increase on the positive side. It will become lesser and lesser negative with increase in r, because here potential energy is inversely proportional to the distance. Also the repulsion term, here it is that inversely proportional to the nth power of r. So with increase in r, this value is going to decrease exponentially. So this is the curve for repulsion, this is the curve for attraction. Attraction term is always negative, and repulsion term is always positive. So now after the overall net potential energy would be given by the average of these two plots, that is repulsion plot and the attraction plot. So the average value would be this curve, and here there is a minima in this curve which is at r naught. R naught is the actual distance between the oppositely charged ions when the ionic bond is formed. So this is the distance of ionic bond. This is the internuclear distance, r naught. So here potential energy is having minimum value. Most negative value is when there is the formation of bond. So in actual there is not, but in actual, now we have considered just single ion pair. We have just considered single single cation and single anion, and we have considered their penetration, repulsion term has come out of the penetration of electron cloud of those cation and the anion, and attraction term has come out of the oppositely charged ions, that is cation and the anion. But in actual, there is not a single ion pair. There are a large number of ions, and interaction of all the ions are actually to be considered. So after considering all the terms, the actual potential energy comes out to be this. Here, B term which was here, that this B value, that is which was our repulsion coefficient, has been calculated in the form of A. Here A is Madelung's constant. This covers the expression for all the attractive and repulsive interactions per mole of the solid. So this A gives us all the expression for all the attractive and this is Madelung's constant, and this potential energy expression which has come out considering the Madelung's constant, taking into account the Madelung's constant. So this is the overall potential energy term. This has come out after considering all the attractive and repulsive forces that come into play when we take 1 mole of the solid, 1 mole of the ionic solid. So this is the term here. B term has also been solved in the form of Madelung's constant. So that is why both the terms are now dependent upon the Madelung's constant, not upon B. Now from this potential energy, lattice energy would be given by multiplying this potential energy with the Avogadro's number. Because so this equation is called as Born-Lande equation, where lattice energy can be calculated by multiplying Avogadro's number with the potential energy term. Because this term is per mole of the solid, here we have multiplied Avogadro's number. That means we have calculated for the whole crystal lattice energy of the. So this is the lattice energy. Now this equation which we have obtained, we have not done the considered the derivation of this equation. This equation we can memorize directly. The derivation is not in there, not there in your syllabus. So you can memorize this whole expression directly. So this equation is called Born-Lande equation. From here we get the value of lattice energy for the formation of ionic crystal, where A is Madelung's constant, Z are the charges of the cation, and the anion, R naught is the actual ionic bond distance, E is the electronic charge, and N is the bond exponent. So this is these are the terms which are involved in Born-Lande equation. So from here, so we can predict some stability things, that lattice energy, more the lattice energy, more is going to be the stability, more is going to be the melting point, and more is going to be the hardness. These properties we have discussed earlier in our previous chapter, previous unit, where we discussed the properties of ionic solids. So more these are the terms. These terms are also related with lattice energy. So as the lattice energy is related with stability, so more the stability, more is going to be the lattice energy, more is going to be the melting point, and more is going to be the hardness. Now we come to Born-Haber cycle for lattice energy. Now this method was proposed by Born-Haber. This method has been proposed to relate lattice energy of ionic compounds with thermodynamic data. So this is called as Born-Haber cycle. So now we'll consider the thermodynamic data which is involved for the formation of a ionic compound. So for the formation of any bond, overall energy must decrease. Whenever there is the formation of bond, that is associated with a decrease of energy. That means energy is released there. So here ionic bond is formed. That means the energy is released here, and that energy which is released here is called as lattice energy. We're considering the formation of 1 mole of NaCl. So we're taking an example. Now we'll see how Born-Haber cycle is applicable for the formation of an ionic solid. For 1 mole of ionic solid, we have taken the example of sodium chloride. So we are taking sodium solid metal in metallic form and chlorine in the gaseous form. So these are the elemental forms for sodium and chlorine. Now we'll see what energies are involved for them in the formation of 1 mole of NaCl solid from sodium solid and chlorine gas. So firstly, what changes sodium will undergo? Let us see. First, the changes underwent by sodium for the conversion of sodium solid into NaCl. So firstly, sodium solid will undergo sublimation. It will require sublimation energy, which is represented by S here, and which converts the solid sodium directly into gaseous sodium. So this is the energy required. This would be given positive sign. Next energy, next is the chlorine will undergo dissociation. It will change into elemental chlorine first. So Cl2 will undergo dissociation. This is the energy representation for dissociation energy D. So Cl2 will gain the dissociation energy and get converted to 2Cl. Here the bond between Cl is going to break and will get 2 elemental chlorine. So energy involved here is dissociation energy, which will also be given positive sign because here this dissociation energy is energy required to the required for the breakage of chlorine-chlorine bond. Next energy which is going to be required by the sodium for the conversion of sodium gas into sodium ion in the gaseous state. So here ionization energy would be required to remove the most loosely bound electron from the isolated gaseous atom of sodium. So next energy for is for the conversion of chlorine gas into chloride ion, which where chlorine gas element chlorine is going to gain 1 electron, and electron affinity is the energy which is going to release there, because whenever there is a gain of electron, it is associated with the release of energy. Next is the bond formation, or we can say the bond formation energy between the sodium and chlorine gas. So here this is the formation of NaCl solid. So this energy is a lattice energy which is involved here. So the overall reaction can be represented as Na solid plus half Cl2 in the gaseous form gives us NaCl solid. So overall energy change, which the overall total energy change which has happened, which has occurred for the formation of sodium chloride solid from sodium solid and from chlorine gas, is heat of formation. So heat of formation, that is delta HF, which is going to be negative, because whenever there is a formation of bond, whenever there is a formation of some compound, it is and there is release of energy. Only then that compound is going to form simultaneously. Otherwise, that will require energy to be supplied for the formation of compound. So first energy was the sublimation energy, then half of dissociation energy, because we just here need 1 chloride ion, 1 chlorine atom. Here there are 2, so dissociation energy D was used and 2 chlorine atoms were generated, and we need just 1. So half of D will take sublimation energy, dissociation energy, ionization. These are the energies required. So these will be given positive sign. Electron affinity is energy released. It will be given negative sign. Then we have lattice energy, which will also be given negative sign, which is also represented as U naught, because it is the energy released. So all the reactions can be represented in the form of cycle. The reaction or interconversion which we have discussed so far for the from sodium solid and chlorine gas to NaCl solid, these are the steps which were involved. So these can be represented in the cyclic form as represented here. So this cyclic form is called as von Haber cycle. So here solid has converted to sodium gas, sublimation energy, then ionization energy, then sodium ion. Here chlorine gas, dissociation energy, then electron affinity, then chloride ion. Then this gaseous ions will release lattice energy and get converted to NaCl solid. So this is how lattice energy can be calculated. And if we know all other values, if we have the value of delta HF, we have all these values, sublimation, dissociation, ionization, electron affinity, then we can calculate lattice energy using this formula, that delta HF is equal to sublimation energy plus dissociation energy plus ionization energy plus electron affinity and plus lattice energy. So these are the energy changes which are involved for the formation of NaCl solid. So if any one of these can be calculated, for any reaction if all other values are given. Signs should be assigned carefully. So the points which are to be kept in mind, that we should always keep in mind which energy is released and which energy is required. Whenever there is release, when some energy is released, it is given negative sign, and whenever energy is required, energy is gained for some change, then that is given positive sign. So units must be carefully chosen. If some energy is given in kilojoule or some energy is given in joules. So all the energies are first converted to same units, then we can add or subtract them. So third point is also feasibility of the reaction can also be predicted using this data. If delta HF comes out to be negative, so that means reaction is feasible. If delta HF, overall delta HF, that is heat of formation, comes out to be positive, that means reaction is not feasible. We need to supply some external energy to make the reaction feasible. Similarly, using this von Haber cycle, proton affinity can be calculated. Here we have calculated lattice energy. Now there is one more energy, one more step, one more reaction that can be uh, studied using this von Haber cycle, which is proton affinity. Here, proton affinity means is the energy released when some base accepts proton. When some this base can be neutral species or anionic species. So here we have represented base as X, which is in gaseous form here. So this here it is represented as neutral species. So it has gained this proton in the gaseous form and get converted to HX gaseous positive sign with positive sign, and here the energy which is released is proton affinity. So here is example of ammonia reacting with HCl. Here is a delta HF which is involved, which has got converted to NH4 positive, Cl negative. So here ammonia is in the gaseous form. For HCl, firstly we'll dissociate it into and separate these. Will break the HCl bond. Dissociation energy would be required. Then hydrogen will gain ionization energy and get converted to H positive gaseous. Chlorine atom will release electron affinity. Energy release when will gain one electron and release electron affinity and get converted to chloride ion in gaseous form, and then all these things get combined, which is this step is having proton affinity. This energy is a proton affinity which is released here, which from here the ammonia H positive and Cl negative are converted to ammonium chloride. So this whole cycle is called as von Haber cycle. So here the earlier it was lattice energy, and here in this particular case here it is proton affinity. So next we have solvation energy. I think the solvation energy and solubility of ionic solids. This particular topic will be discussing in the next video. So that is it for this video. Thank you so much. Have a good day.